Now, we talked about the two categories of retirement plan, the defined contribution plan, the defined benefit plan. Another type of retirement plan that people take out is what we call IRAs. Some of you who are teachers and nurses, you may have the 403B because that's what your job offers, but you may also have an IRA privately for yourself. And if you do, you want to understand how these works as well. So there are two types of IRAs. So you have the traditional IRA, you have the Roth IRA. If you wanted to get one, get the Roth instead of the traditional. Let's look at the differences really quickly. So here, right, just like the 401ks, the 403bs, the 457, you are contributing your money into the plan and you are putting it in there pre-tax, okay? The contributions that you are putting in, you're able to get a deduction when you file your tax. That's something that is important to know because it's an advantage. It's something that is positive. You can get a deduction, all right? But the money goes in pre-tax. Your gains, whether it be you're getting capital gains, whether you're getting dividends, whether you're getting interest, you're making money when the market goes up because the IRAs, traditionally, they are in mutual funds. They are in the stock market. Okay, so when it goes up, it is growing tax deferred. Okay, tax deferred, putting it off for later. And the 59.5 rule, apply right here. You cannot touch it before, else you will be penalized. And you must start taking the money out at age 72, as I already described in the other type of 403B plans. The IRAs work the same. Take a look at the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA, when you contribute, you're not able to take a tax deduction. You're not contributing pre-tax. You are contributing monies that you already paid tax on. And that is the reason why when you take the distribution out of it, you take it out tax-free because you already paid tax on the money that you put in. You are not bound by the 72-year rule. You can leave the money as long as you want. There's no mandatory required minimum distributions. So this is really, really important for you to understand. There are some other rules that apply to Roth. So you make sure that you don't just jump and open a Roth without speaking to your tax advisor. There are exceptions to the IRS to everything. I know for sure that there is a rule that you can't really take the money out of the Roth. You have to leave it there for at least the first 5 years from when you first started. Otherwise, you have those penalties. You got to leave it in until after 59.5 before you can start actually taking the money out. And there are some exceptions. So again, I kind of put this here together so you can see it, snap this, you'll be able to understand it a little better. So your 401ks, your 403bs, your IRAs, this is on top here. Okay, so they're tax deductible. You can get that deduction, right? They grow, the interest grows tax deferred. But when you take the distribution out, you're older, you have to pay the taxes. And if you transfer money over to your beneficiaries, your children, if you pass away and there's money there and they pass it over, these kids are going to have to pay the tax. Take a look at the index, the tax-free alternatives, right? Here, you can't take a tax deduction when you're putting it in. It accumulates tax deferred as well, but when the distribution comes, you get the tax-free benefit. You pay no taxes as you pull the money out. And when it transfers over to your heirs, your children do not have to pay the tax as well. So understandably, which one would you choose? That is a question that, you got to answer for yourself. All right. Now we're coming down to the end here. So we talked about retirement plans. We talked about IRAs. I have to mention Social Security because it is in turmoil, because it is in trouble, right? And I have seen in my practice that quite a few people, by the way, they are self-employed. They get paid on commissions. So there is no job that is taking out that 7.65%. They're not taking out Social Security out of their money, and they are not taking out Medicare out of their money, because these people are self-employed and they work for themselves. So what happens is they got to pay their own Social Security and their own Medicare. And a lot of people kind of skip that a little bit, or, they don't show their full income. They just want to pay the least amount that they can. But you got to be very careful as it relates to Social Security. You want to make sure that you have in at least 40 quarters. Very important, 40 quarters. You cannot receive Social Security benefits if you do not have at least 40 credits in. So you can only put in 4 credits per year. So which means the government expects you to work for at least 10 years and put into Social Security. So if you're putting 4 credits a year and you work for 10 years, you end up with the 40, you're entitled to get Social Security. That's very important because, you can get sick, anything can happen, and you want to be able to collect Social Security disability, things like that. There are other rules that come into play. But the main thing I want you to get out of this, you call the Social Security office. If you have no clue about it, you want to know about it, I have given you the phone number here. For those of you who are driving and you're just listening, 1-800-772-1213. Call the Social Security office, order the form SSA 7004. They will send you, a record of all the years that you work, what your salary was, how much credits you earned, and where you are now in the scale of things. So you just want to make sure that you cover at least 40, okay? In order to do that, if you are self-employed and you are reporting your own income and paying your own benefits for yourself, you have to make sure that at least you are reporting at least $6,040 maximum a year. Those are the figures back in 2022. I didn't really check 2023. It may go up slightly, but you want to make sure that you are putting in at least $6,040. You're showing that amount of income. You don't want to file a Schedule C, say that you are self-employed, you're driving Uber, you are barber, you're doing A, you're doing B. I only made $1,200 for the year. Look, you're not doing yourself any good. So make sure you put at least enough for you to collect 4 credits for the year. Even if you made $1 million, you cannot get more than 4 credits per year. They want you to work at least 10 years. So I'm also speaking to the millennials. I'm speaking to the Gen Xers. I'm speaking to the young people, because young people are different from people like me. I'm not calling myself old, I'm a baby boomer, but, I'm not saying that I'm old, but I know that I have kids and they think a little differently. They don't want to work as hard as the older generation. They want to be millionaires by age 40, 45. They don't want to work for people. They want to work for themselves and things like that. So if you do plan to work for yourself and you are self-employed, you want to at least know, or get yourself a job, a good paying business. Make sure you put in enough for 10 years so that you qualify for the Social Security. If Social Security is going to be around, you want to make sure that you collect your part. All right. The other thing I want to tell you about Social Security, this is the number one question that comes into me all the time when I do a seminar where I talk about Social Security. People ask, can I retire early? Can I collect my Social Security earlier than my retirement age? So you need to know what your retirement age is. And yes, you can, but you need to know what the limits are so that you're not losing money. So you want to take a snap of this slide here. If you're born, those are who are a little bit older, if you're born earlier than 1937, then your retirement age is 65. 65. If you decide to retire early and you decide to take your Social Security early, but you're still working, you're going to start losing money if you go over the limits. So if you are born between 1943 and 1954, your retirement age is 66 years. Government expect you to work all the way to 66. If you're born in 1960 or later, then your retirement age is 67. I don't know if you guys notice that they keep upping the retirement age all the time. Just now, they're going to tell us the retirement age is 70. Just now, it's going to be 75, like, because they know that they're running out of Social Security. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you do take your money earlier than your retirement age, then the income limit is $1,770 per month or $21,000 a year. For every $2 that you earn, they're going to hold back $1 of your benefit. So you're going to start losing money if you make more than the limit that is here. So keep that in mind as well. There are people who they got to the stage where, you know what, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm just going to take what I can get now. And if that is the case, that's fine. But if you do decide to go back out to work, keep in mind the limits that are here. gentlemen.